everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Show Me How It's Done. I'm sorry we missed last week. I ended up not having a voice and you can hear it's still a little scratchy, but I do have it back. So I'm so glad to be back and I'm excited to show you what I have in store for you today. So I have created a fun fold card using the newly released Waves of the Ocean suite. This stamp set and die bundle will be carrying over into our next annual catalog, which starts in May. However, there are coordinating products like the paper that I'm showing you today and the jewels that will not be carrying over. So if you do like them, and you want to order them, make sure to use the website info at the bottom of my page or contact me and we'll get you a set of those papers so that you can have a lot of use out of your bundle. So for today's card, as I mentioned, it's a fun fold. So it just kind of opens up a little bit differently, and I designed it simply around the fact that I wanted a card to showcase the waves that the die sets really are prominent for. So it's really fun, it's really easy. If you'd like to follow along, I'm going to give you all the measurements you need and you can create along with me, or you can always come back and watch this later. So I just want to highlight the papers for you just so you can see them though. These are the foil sheets, so you can purchase a package with two 12 by 12 sheets of each color. So you'd get 2 Pacific Point, 2 Silver, and 2 Bermuda Bay. And you'll have to excuse all my little scraps because I've been using this like crazy this month. So this is really all I have left. But I do have a full package of the designer paper to show you. And I did show this last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago now. But I'll just quickly show you the set again. It's got lots of gorgeous kind of water, bubbly, foamy images, which are perfect for both your seascapes and any sort of beach or sky that you might want to do as well. So lots of fun, lots of potential there. You'll see a few of the papers come up in the set today. And then the last part is these rhinestone basic jewels. So they come in like a really nice set of different shades of blue. So let's get going. Oh, here's your stamp set, Waves of Inspiration. So that stamp set and these dies, like I mentioned, they're going to be in the next catalog, but the papers won't be, and neither will the embellishments. So if you'd like to follow along, you'll need a few things. To start, I think I'm just going to move one of these out of the way. I did one with the Bermuda Bay wave and one with the Pacific Point, just so you could see the difference. Both of them will look stunning. So for your card base, I decided to use Pacific Point. So mine measures 5.5 by 8.5, but I've done my scoring a little differently. So if you turn it so your 8.5 edge is on the top of the board, we're putting one mark at 1 1/4 and 5 1/8. Okay, and that's going to give you this really fun little fold where the top kind of covers over and you get a really cute division between your water and your sky on the card. Okay, so that's your card base. Now to decorate, I wanted a shadow effect. So I wanted my papers to stand out on a background of white. You could use ivory, you can use black, just something that's really going to make those papers pop off your page. So you'll need, I chose white, you'll need 3 of those papers. The first one is going on the inside of your card, and this one is going to measure 3 3/4 by 5 1/8. That goes right in the middle of the card, just so you have something to write on. And then the 2 for the front. This larger piece right here is going to measure 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. And this strip is going to measure 1 1/8 by 5 3/8 again. So if you miss any of these measurements and you're just kind of watching for the fun of it, I will list them in the description, so you can always come back and just kind of work on this from scratch. So you can see they all fit quite nicely in their little spots. I'm going to go ahead and add these to the card so that they're out of my way, and that hopefully gives you a chance to catch up a little bit. But just keep in mind 5 3/8 length for all three, and then 1 1/8, 3 1/8, and 3 3/4. And you also don't need to do these, but I just found that it really makes your card kind of come alive if you do have that extra layers. But if you're worried about kind of paper conservation, or you have a designer paper that you really just want to use as a feature, go ahead and cut your designer paper then to the lengths that I just gave you. And you wouldn't worry about the next set of papers, which is going to be the designer series cuts. So I'm using just double-sided tape. It's nice and quick for me to use. If you're a seal person or you like glue, both of those are also wonderful options. We're just not using dimensionals right now because we want the card to kind of close up, so you don't want any more depth to it. So this one just on the inside. I gave you a very small margin. You won't have much of a border, just in case you're worried, because you do have kind of the full blue on the top and the bottom. This gives you a nice large piece to write on. Okay, so we've got our card kind of started. We're going to now move to our designer series paperwork, but I'm not going to attach that yet because I want to do some stamping first. So what I'm going to start with is my strip on the top here, this "You're So Totally Awesome." This is a piece of that red kind of bubbly paper, which I thought could kind of be like a skyline. Of course, it does have the blue on it too if you wanted to keep going with a water theme. But on this piece, I'm going to cut it at 5 1/8 by 1. Okay, and I'm going to do a little stamping. So I have my Pacific Point ink. This guy I'm just going to open up like a makeup compact, straight up. And if you want, you can push it and lock that in place. Tap, 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 because this is super, super juicy. You don't need to get a ton on there. And I'm just going to stamp this kind of on the right-hand side. Now, usually we would probably stamp on white or vanilla, but it does stand out on this piece, so I thought I'm gonna leave that because it's really fun. To decorate, we might as well do those kind of features right now. I have 2 little birds that I cut out of the extras of my Pacific Point foil. So to attach those, you will want your liquid glue. And that will make your life a lot easier here. So just the one with the wings spanned out, and the one that looks like a V. I did think it was really cute. Somebody used this bird that was shaped like a V, like a whale tail, so they stuck it down by the wave. And I thought that would be a fun thing to play with at some point as well, because it really does look like a tiny whale tail. So there's another option for you. You don't need to have the 2 birds necessarily. You can have the whale tail. The clouds we can easily add later, or you can go ahead and add them now. I seem to have misplaced my clouds, so they're probably hiding in my envelope still. There we go. There. So the die set for this comes with these 2 large clouds, which are great, and then these kind of funky dies, these 2 here. And if you're looking at them, you won't know what they are, but they're actually to give kind of a stormy look to your cloud. You could always cut a white cloud out with a gray undertone, and it kind of looks like a storm cloud. But I wanted nice white fluffy clouds, but I still wanted to showcase the cloud images. So I just cut this piece out in white, and it's all going on top of my existing white clouds. So that's just going to give me a little bit more life to my cloud. You don't have to do this. The clouds themselves are very nice and fluffy, but I thought I wanted to show you all the dies and kind of what they did. So I did bring those out. I'm attaching that just with some glue. But another easy alternative would be to use our adhesive sheets and turn this white paper into a sticker before I did anything. And then I would easily be able to attach these without much effort. Oh, my glue is expanding. There we go. Perfect. So adding those two on, right, like so. Now the nice thing about this Tombow glue is it does dry clear. So in the case that I've kind of smudged a little bit, it's not going to matter. Nobody will really notice. So I am going to set these clouds aside because they're very wet and I don't really want to play with them quite yet. So I'm going to set them aside and I'm going to add them later. So I'm going to put this strip now onto my card. I'm using a flat adhesive of your choice. Once again, I like the double-sided tape. And whenever your clouds are dry, we will add them with dimensionals. That's the one thing that we're going to give a little dimension to today. Okay, so adding this to the top section, it will have just the slightest of white borders on the top and the bottom, and a little bit more on the left and the right. Okay. So there's my top sentiment. Now I need my wave piece. So this piece is one of those designer series papers, which is gorgeous. There's all sorts of different patterns that you can choose from. This one is going to be cut at 3 inches by 5 1/8. Now I did want to give you guys one alternative if you wanted to take this card and step it up a little bit. So I'm going to do that now. So this is your one sample where you could simply cut this piece, cut yourself a wave, glue them together, and have a finished card. Now I'm going to give you one more step. If you own the stamp set and if you want to do this, you can stamp this giant detailed wave onto the background. We're going to emboss it, and then we're going to add this little foil on top. So it's just an option for you if you'd like, but I'll show you what it looks like. So I've got my nice sticky Versamark ink. I'm going to ink this giant wave up and stamp that right on the background. It will be a little too big, and that's okay. So you can't really see it at the moment. I'm going to bring over my little tray where I've got my white embossing powder. And I'm going to sprinkle that all over my paper. Get the edges. So you can see it a little bit more at this moment. There we go. There's my whole wave. But now I'm going to take my heat gun and actually emboss this image. So you won't be able to hear me while I'm doing that. The camera microphone doesn't really work that way. So what you're going to see is this kind of powdery look is going to start looking really glossy. So I'll stop halfway through just to show you the difference. And once you see a section turn glossy, just make sure to keep moving because you don't want to burn that. Okay, and sorry, I have to move right over here. There we go. I'll just stop for a second here. Hopefully you're able to see. It will focus for me. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. So this half here is quite bright and shiny, and then this part here is very dull still. So I haven't heated that one. We're going to keep working on it so that it looks like the one on the left. There we go. So I have a nice wave background here, which would also be really cute if I just wanted to leave the card like that. And perhaps I'd have one option with the cutout and one option with my little embossing. But I'm going to combine the two and show you how you can step this one up into a different sort of card. So this guy, turn over, and we're going to add that tape to the back. We want this nice and snug on our card front. Goes just in the middle of this white section. Once again, teeniest of borders on the top and bottom, and a little bit more on the sides. There we go. So there is my waves. I'm going to now bring in that cutout wave that I had. So this one is, you can tell, the Bermuda Bay. We're going to use our liquid glue again, and just in the spots that have kind of a larger section, we're putting a little dot. Okay, you don't need to cover your entire wave. You have the majority of it, you will be just fine. Just a few of these larger spots. There we go. And I'm going to put this now right over top of the embossed wave. You'll see some sections are covered, and then some sections end up being quite visible and give you a really nice spray look in behind your wave. So just hold it on there for a sec, because it does take a second to attach to the embossed powder. But that should be good. Okay, so you can see the difference. I've got this really nice kind of spray showing through, but this card is gorgeous simply because the background color of the paper really makes it look like those rolling waves too. So here's option one. If you own the stamp, then you can step it up and do option two. I'm going to just put a little glue dot inside my lip here, and that makes it easy for my card to close. Somebody can easily lift it up and down numerous times, but it just gives you an option to close it. So let's add my little clouds. These guys are getting popped up on dimensionals. So 3 little dimensionals for that big one, because that one's our focal point. That can go kind of just on the left-hand side here. And then our tiniest one or 2 dimensionals, whatever works for you. He is just going to get tucked right behind this one, like that. There we go. A very simple way to decorate. If you wanted to bling it up even a little bit more, maybe then you'd bring in your rhinestones. So let me add a couple into this section here. Go with blue, maybe Ooh, this light one, that's pretty. Okay. And then somewhere else, I don't know, here maybe? And just add a couple of those gems in to kind of add a little bit of character to it. There we go. Two really, really similar cards, but a little bit more technique depending on how many you're wanting to make, I guess. If you like this kind of fold, I did use my Here Together set. So remember when this first came out, I colored this piece of designer series paper using all the new natural tones blends. And so I turned one of the pages into a card here. So I have to do that to the other one. But here's from lightest to darkest, the 10 colors that we have in the natural tones blends. And then I did the same fold, but I made a little decal here so that my card can just open and close like that. So my decal is only attached on the very bottom, and I can tuck the little top under it. So I used the same measurements to get this card, but a completely different set of colors and sweet. There you go. A few different ideas for you. Good. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm sorry I didn't give a shout out to those of you who I saw are watching. So thank you, ladies, for tuning in. And I'm really hoping you like today's projects. My club members did see this one this month, but I hope that the other alternatives are kind of a fun step up for you. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to get you a catalog if you need one, or give you some information if you're in Canada and you need a demonstrator. I do these videos weekly. They are absolutely free for you to watch. And then every month I have a card class both at my house, or I'll send you a video link if you need a kit to go as well. But I can send you information on that as well if you're interested. But I will see you guys next week, and I hope you take care. Bye!